Hello and welcome again to the EPL Fanbase Show, the show that connects you with the happening in the English Premier League. Today we want to review match day 11. My name is FM Steve and I'm joined in the show by Simon Karaoke, aka SP. SP, how are you?
I'm very fine, Steve. Happy to be here. Good to see you
Yes,
after
yes,
the bad weekend.
yes. Okay, it was a weekend. It was a weekend not good to remember for some of us. But, all in all, that is football. Now, talking of the weekend, there was one of your key players, Paul Pogba, with a goal. For me, it's a goal that deserves to be considered for a goal of the season. And Paul Pogba is proving to be one of your key players. 48 hours just before your big match with RB Leipzig, Paul Pogba's agent, Mino Raiola, has just said that better to be straight, I'll quote, better to be straight up about it. Paul is unhappy at Manchester United. He is not performing as he'd like, and as we expect, he has to move. He has to change scenery. He has a contract that expires in 18 months in summer 2022. But I think the best thing for all parties is a sell. So let's talk about Paul Pogba. What's your take about Paul Pogba? Do you think it's time to move, or do you think he will add value to the diamond of Ole?
Steve, this is the never-ending soap opera of Paul Pogba, Manchester United, Juventus, and Real Madrid. I love Paul Pogba. He's one of my favorite players in world football, not in United only. He has achieved big things with Juventus. He's won us the Europa League with Ibrahimovic. He's won the World Cup with France. And for me, he's up there with the best players in the world. However, he suffers from one thing that is plaguing Manchester United at the moment, and that is inconsistency. And he's easily distracted by what the media has to say, very distracted by social media, very distracted by what ex Manchester United players have to say, pundits have to say. Basically, he's more concerned with his image, personal image, and we were discussing a few weeks ago about the impact that the lack of fans has had in the stadiums, and you can see Paul Pogba is a person who plays for the crowd, and he has suffered big time in this COVID period because of the lack of funds and therefore the lack of fanfare and in his life. I don't like his agent, Mino Raiola. Mino Raiola, good agent, but he is always looking at the next big contract before even the ink dries on the one that they have just signed. So for me, I think two things. I think number one, that Mino has seen that Manchester United does not really need Pogba at the moment because let's face it, he's not a must have for us to perform well. If there's a player that falls in the category of must be there, must be present for United to perform, I think that's Bruno Fernandes. And I think in his mind, Paul Pogba thinks he is what Bruno Fernandes is to Manchester United. And because of that, I think he has seen that he's not getting a new contract at United, and so he's pushing this news ahead of our biggest game of the season, arguably our biggest game in the past 2 or 3 seasons. And before that, you go out with this quote of Pogba is not happy at Manchester United and he wants to move. I think personally I am sick and tired of this saga. I want to see the end of it. If it means letting go of Paul Pogba in January, I'm happy to do that. You have good players, and I mean, we had Angel Di Maria, who was a very good player, but who never really settled at United, and who just he wanted to use United as a stepping stone because he couldn't go to PSG. We have had Alexis Sanchez, who came to United just for the money, and now we have Paul Pogba, who's a big player who thinks that he's everything United needs and wants. But in real sense, I think today we can play comfortably without Paul Pogba. But if this was Bruno Fernandes, then the club would be held at ransom. But Manchester United being Manchester United, I see one of two things happening. I see us putting a £350,000 contract on the table for him to sign. And I see him taking it and signing it and saying how happy he is and how happy he is with Ole's project. Or him us selling in January, and there are already rumors of a swap deal with Juventus. There are rumors of a swap deal with Paulo Dybala. There are rumors of a swap deal with Cristiano Ronaldo because Juventus want to get Cristiano off their books. And I'd be happy with either of them. And thinking as a Glazer right now, I think losing a Galactico like Pogba to gain another Galactico like Cristiano Ronaldo, the ultimate Galactico, I think would be a win-win for them, despite the fact that they'd be paying twice as many wages as they're paying Paul Pogba now. But there's already discussion with even our shared sponsors, Chevrolet, around them paying part of Cristiano Ronaldo's wages. So I feel the Paul Pogba discussion has come in at a bad time for United. But if you ask me, we need to cash in on him because in 18 months he'll be going away for free. I'm sick and tired of it. He's been the best player. You know, I've had jerseys with number 6 on the back, but I'll be happy, the day he leaves this club. No player is bigger than the club, and for me, Pogba is done at United.
Yeah, because it's a bit strange. Less than 48 hours before, Pogba had declared to the club in-house television channel, and I quote, he said, "I'm a team player. As long as the team wins, that's the most important." Now, of course, it was not the player who gave the interview to the Italian newspaper. Remember, this agent gave the interview to the Italian newspaper. But Paul Pogba has not said a word since to distance himself from the comment made by his agent. So it shows that he is more like in agreement. But as you said, maybe we can say it's an issue of looking for a contract. It's a way of getting bargaining powers.
I think so. I think it is. I think it is a ploy for him to get a new contract. But I think United, where we are right now, and especially when you look at the performances Donny van de Beek has been putting in the past couple of weeks, I think we don't really need Pogba. We clearly don't have space for a midfield three of Bruno, Pogba, and Van der Beek, and therefore one of them has to go. And for me, Pogba leaving will not be the end of the world. However, that said, if we were able to tie him to a contract, then I'd be happy. Not because he will play for us, but because then he'd have much more value. Because his value has gone down. Market now is saying £60 million, up from 180 million. Couple of seasons back when we wanted to sell him to Madrid. So I think cut our losses, count our losses at the moment, and just let him go. He'll never really settle, and Ole has proved he's not the coach to manage Pogba's ego. So if Mourinho couldn't manage Pogba's ego and Pogba cost Mourinho the job, Pogba will do the same to Ole. Who's Ole? So I'm happy having Pogba let go. Sad to see him leave. He's a world-class player because I know he has the potential to be one of the best, if not the best players in the world. And for me, I think he's been flattering to deceive the last 5 years, and he does not really deserve, the kind of money that I'm sure his agent is asking for. On the issue of it's the agent that gave the interview and not Pogba, well, I think it's more or less the same thing, if you ask me. Mino Raiola is Pogba's mouthpiece. Mino Raiola is Pogba's representative. So anything you hear from Mino will basically have come from Pogba in one way or another. I'm sure Pogba knew what Mino was going to say even before he said it. I mean, Pogba is Mino is not the client. Pogba is the client for Mino. So Mino will do whatever is good for his client.